Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So today, well, actually, it was like a few days ago, we actually found out by Feige a few things about the brand new Spider-Man franchise. So here's just some things. So Feige actually teased a little bit. First things first is that Ant-Man has a Spider-Man reference in there. It's just a one-liner. So make sure you don't miss it, because if you miss it, you will just be like, oh my gosh, and then, yeah, all that stuff. I think there was something about there was end credits as well, but I don't. Maybe it could be end credits. Maybe that one liner could actually be end credits, and then cool. Well, I guess that would be cool. At least you won't be able to miss it. Next up is new villains. Villains we haven't seen before. So if they go the route of the Ultimates, which this time around it seems like they a little bit are, then that means that maybe Shocker takes place of Electro in Ultimates. Or in the Ultimate version, because in the Ultimate version, which I guess it would be easier. It would be easier if on Netflix they actually will have Kingpin, and this time Kingpin actually now has a enforcer, and the enforcer will be Shocker. And Shocker, there will be no explanation. It's kind of like exactly what happened in the Ultimates, even though later on I bet they might have explained it. But before then, they didn't explain exactly what happened to Electro to turn him into Electro. So I guess they could actually replace Electro with Shocker, and then they don't even have to explain what Shocker is. It would just be one of those throw-in characters where they're like, well, he's Shocker, but we don't know how. So it's like, ooh, cool, it's just like Electro. And since we already use Electro, it's not going to be any treads. So that's kind of sad. In a way, that's kind of sad. But we get to have lots and lots of new characters. It would be cool to see Hydro Man show up. That would be one thing that would be very cool. I think that's about all. Of course, Mysterio has always been hinted at. I remember when there was like a big list in like at 6% or 1% or something like that. They're like, if the villains show up or not. And usually they didn't. Yeah, for Sam Raimi, that was when they were doing that whole, who's the next person for Spider-Man 4? And it's like, yeah. So, actually, I think it was Spider-Man 3 they were trying to figure out. So anyways, like we already know, so Sony can use Marvel characters, so Tony might actually appear, maybe. Marvel can use a Spidey villain, so that's something interesting. That means that, yeah, just like what Seven Web had said, maybe they'll use Dr. Ock when it goes against the new Avengers, or Secret Avengers, or Secret Warriors, I don't know. They might use them. And this is one thing that's very important, is the fact that they're talking about John Hughes humor. They're going to model themselves after that, and they'll actually make Spider-Man, these Spider-Man movies that's going to come out, a bit more funny. Yeah, they're actually going to be very comedic. One thing that, they both said it, yeah, they both said it. Someone has said it, X-Men said it, they said that Spider-Man is not the only hero. Let me just stop you right there. Spider-Man is the only hero in Amazing Spider-Man, but when it comes to the first three, even though I don't even want to call them three, but anyways, for Sam Raimi on the other hand, remember in this second movie, he's like, oh, Doctor Strange. It's like, that's good, but that name's taken. Doctor Strange is a hero, correct? We never saw Doctor Strange in the Spider-Man movies, but he's actually present. And since he's present but not ever showed up, I can say that he is not alone as a hero, because Doctor Strange is present. It's just that we never actually got to see him in the movies. Spider-Man 2 is something they're going to try to live up to, which I would say Amazing Spider-Man 2 was close to it. It's just that there's just some other things that they tried their best to get to there, and they weren't able to. And it's all because of their foundation. If they would have made sure their foundation was all good and well, they most likely could have actually made it to Spider-Man 2 status, or at least the first Spider-Man status. Which I think they did, but they didn't reach the Spider-Man 2. And of course, yes, this franchise is its own franchise. That means that it's not going to try to do what others did. It's going to actually be different and be its own movie itself. So there won't be anything that's like repeats. As for Netflix and Spidey, this is what Kevin Feige said is never say never. Yep. Technically, I guess Justin Bieber could actually have answered this. Oh. Anyways, for X-Men, though, X-Men says Spider-Man already exists, though. We just haven't seen him yet. That's interesting, is that he already exists, it's just we haven't seen him yet. Where I'm like, it's kind of like Miles Morales in a way. So that means that, like, for instance, Miles Morales actually existed as Spider-Man, but he didn't actually act as Spider-Man until Peter Parker died. So before then, he could have actually have been Spider-Man as well. But yeah, so hopefully it's something like that, some kind of interesting mixture on that. Of course, yes, you guys know he's in high school. New villains, like I said, the tone will be humorous, just like I said before. This will be a different Spidey, like no other Spidey was, because he's not alone. Like I'm just treading a little bit. And this is the interesting thing, is the fact that what X-Men pointed out is just the fact that he can actually look up to the heroes. Kind of like in Ultimates. So he can actually look up to them and, yeah, be inspired and honored by them. So that's basically all I can tell you. And, well, I'll tell you more when I find some. So I'm webbing out. Peace.